Hello, how are you guys doing tonight? So I just left the house and I forgot to charge my battery. So I have no idea how long this vlog is gonna be. It could be 20 minutes, it could be an hour. It just depends on how long my vlog goes, or how long the camera goes. I'm actually going to meet my friend. This is kind of a funny story. I'm going to meet my friend Valerie at the other casino tonight because we went to the other casino last night. I took a shower, did my hair, everything. I was so excited. And I got there and I also saw my friend Lori. She and her husband were there and it was kind of empty. I was kind of surprised there weren't that many people at the casino. So I walked up and sat down and I started talking to Valerie and she goes, "You're never gonna guess." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "They're closing the casino from 1:30 to 2 to change all the machines over." The casinos in Indiana were all bought. I think they were Harrah's, I think they were Caesars and now they're Harrah's, or they were Harrah's and now they're Caesars or something, but they were all bought and turned over. She goes, "But we get a free, if you have a player's card, you get a free box lunch." And I'm like, okay. So, I guess people weren't staying because of that, because they said it could go longer. So I played $20, and then I think I took my ticket out. It was so I only spent $3 because I had a $17 ticket when they turned the machines off. Well, they told us that we could come back to all these machines that we were playing, right? So Valerie and Lori and her husband and I, Lori's the one that's been on my vlog that one time. We go over to because you had to get new players cards for the new system. So we get in this line of 20 people to get these new players cards. And then we head over to go get our box lunches, which apparently everybody wanted because they had thousands of people were sitting. You couldn't sit at a machine. You had to either sit in the deli or in the bar. And this casino's not huge. So every seat was taken. So we were literally, all of us, standing kind of around this one machine that you could put things on, but we weren't allowed to sit there. And we were all eating. It was kind of I know this sounds corny, but it was kind of fun in a weird kind of way. It just felt, I don't know. So anyway, when they turned the machines back on, well, we started walking back to the machines that we were playing, and we sat down, Valerie and I, and they had sectioned off that area. And this woman came over and she's like, "Well, you guys aren't gonna be able to play these machines. These aren't gonna be the machines that you can play." And so we were like, "Well, which machines can we play?" And they were like, "Well, now," oh, this is the other thing that Lori and I were having a fit about last night. All my old lady machines that I love, that Lori and I played together, they got rid of them. They're gone. They took them out and they are replacing it. They're building a lounge for the diamond players who are the high rollers. So we were so upset. We were laughing about it. I mean, it's no big deal, right? Slot machines. So anyway, so we we're like, "Well, where can we play?" And they're like, "Any of the machines that are not cordoned off, you can play." So the ones that were off are going to turn back on, and the ones that were on, they're going to turn off to process. And they were like, it could take anywhere from 2 to 3 days to a week to turn back on. So there's no machines. There's literally a few machines for all of these people that wanted to play. There were some in the front and some in the back. So we played for a little bit and then we left. It really wasn't that much fun. And so I didn't spend very much money. I spent I think max 20 or 40 bucks, I think, was maybe even less than that. So I was I texted her tonight, we were at dinner, and I was I'm kind of wanting to go to Shelbyville, which is where Indiana Live is. It's the other casino. And she was like, "Me too." Because we know all the machines over there are turned on because they told us. And I haven't been to this casino in a long time. So I'm like, okay, so we're gonna head over there tonight. So I'm kind of driving around just a little bit vlogging before I get on the interstate to go that way. I gotta stop at the gas station and get something to drink too, because I'm thirsty. So yeah, so that's my casino story, but it was kind of fun. We had our little box lunches. Our box lunches had turkey sandwiches. I mean, you got them for free, you didn't have to pay. So it was basically an adult field trip at the casino with the slot machines turned off. But you got your box lunch. It was, you got a turkey sandwich, which I couldn't eat, so I gave mine to Valerie. She and Lori were both wanting all my extras. And then you got a bag of chips, which I ate. 2 chocolate chip cookies, which I ate. And then an apple. I gave my apple and my turkey sandwich to Valerie. So, anyway. It was kind of it was not so much fun. It was kind of a dud of a casino night. So tonight we're going to Indiana Live, which is Shelbyville. I haven't been there in a long time. I have friends that go there and they hit like crazy. So Indiana Live is actually kind of a nicer casino. It's just bigger, and I don't know why I don't like it. It feels a lot more like action, you know, there's like tons of people there and stuff. So, and I'm just taking the money that I had with me for last night that I didn't end up spending, so when it's gone, I'll leave. But anyway, let's see, I got up today. I had such a great day today. I got up today and did my prayers, meditations, and my affirmations. I haven't done a mask in the morning, and I cannot tell you how long. I'll have to do that tomorrow. And then I got a cup of coffee and drove around for a little bit listening to my audiobook, and then I came home and let's see. Oh, I filmed videos for my channel. I made a Peter Monn video, drama video, and I did my Peterisms video, and then I did a review of Making a Murderer, which is on my review channel, Peter Review Stuff, listed below. And I have another review coming tomorrow that's going to be real fun that well, I don't want to tell you what it is, because, well, I guess it doesn't matter, because by the time this goes up, I'll probably be filming it. So then we had marriage counseling tonight, which our session went great. We had a great session. And then afterwards, we met up with Jason and Melissa, and we went to Cheesecake Factory for dinner, so that we could kind of like finalize where we wanted to stay in Miami and all this kind of stuff. And we got it narrowed down to 3 hotels that we were all kind of like mutually agreed on. And they're all hotels that we haven't stayed at before. So the 4th one, our alternate is the one that Alex and I usually stay at every year, but I don't think we're going to stay there this year. The hotels in Miami or in South Beach for the week that we go to Ultra Music Festival are either super, super expensive or they're super cheap and probably not places that I would want to stay, you know? And they're like not anywhere near the beach, or they're so inland that they're far away from everything. So anyway, yeah, we had a good time at dinner tonight. It was fun. We just kind of sat there and we caught up on a bunch of stuff, and then Jason brought his iPad and we were like just looking at hotels basically and stuff, because we don't want to spend a bunch of money. But it's hard that week because stuff is so expensive that week of Ultra Music Festival. Anyway, and this is the first year they've ever been. They're going with us because they really wanted to go and they've never been before. So it'd be fun to go with another couple. We've never gone with another couple to Ultra. And let's see, what else? Oh, so my review for tomorrow, I got a piece of pumpkin cheesecake and pumpkin pecan cheesecake, and I'm going to review and compare them to each other. I brought them home to eat and do tomorrow. I'm so excited. I love cheesecake, and thank you for being a friend. Golden Girls cheesecake. And a couple people had actually recommended for me to do this review. When I said I was doing pumpkin spice stuff, they recommended for me to do it, so I'm really excited about it. And you know what? I just realized, I don't think he charged me, oh God, if he did, I'll feel so bad. I don't think he charged me for the pumpkin pie, the cheesecakes. Because I'm thinking about the bill. Okay, so, well, I always forget, I got a grilled cheese, and a grilled cheese is so expensive, and Alex just got spaghetti, and that wasn't expensive either. Oh, no, the cheesecakes were on there. I can see them on the bill now, then, yeah. So anyway, can you ever see, like, bills in your head, like, as you look at it? Anyway, but it was fun, and that was my day, and I had Halloween movies on in the background, and the dogs were all great today, and I just was positive and happy all day today. It was just a really good day today, you know? know, those days that I just feel content and peaceful, like, I think it's really important that I don't take those for granted. I think it's really easy to, you know, when bad stuff is going, a friend of mine had a family member that passed away today, and you know, I was thinking about her, and I was just thinking about, you know, that situation, and you know, I think it's sad. It's like when that stuff happens, it really puts everything in perspective, right? And then on those days, we would just, what we wouldn't give for one more day, or what we wouldn't give for just a really good day, you know? But then when we just have like normal days that just seem like whatever, I often take those days for granted. Like, I don't pay attention to how nice it is just to have a day that I'm content, or a day that I'm happy, you know? And since I've been doing my gratitude list, and especially in the last, I would say 2 months, since I've been doing my meditations and my, you know, affirmations in the morning, and my prayers and gratitudes and stuff like that, like, it's really put all of that stuff in perspective for me, which is great, because then days like today, where I'm just having this fantastic day, I feel, I don't know, like, it just means a lot more to me. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but how was your day today? Did you guys have a good day? You did? You didn't? I'm sorry. I think sometimes back in the days, you know, like, I'm not talking with like the big stuff. I'm talking about, like, you know, you have a shitty day at work, and just everything seems to, you know, your coffee's cold, and you're running late, and you can't find a parking space, and it's snowing outside, and, you know, your sweater doesn't fit comfortably, and you trip and fall on your way in. It's just like every little thing seems to go wrong, you know? It's like, have you ever had days like that? I mean, I think everybody's had days like that, right? And it's like, just nothing seems to go right. And it's like, if I could just put my pillow, or my head on the pillow at the end of the day, so I can go to sleep and start it all over, like, you know. I've really been also cognizant when I lay my head on the pillow at the end of the night, to really be conscious of my day that I've had, and picking out, this was a trick I got from that Rhonda Byrne magic book, because you had a rock that you would hold on to, and then, like, you would think of, like, your favorite thing that happened throughout that day, and it was all really about, something smells like it's burning, like leaves. I don't think you're supposed to burn leaves in Indiana anymore, but it's very pretty out tonight, but like the moon is hiding behind some clouds, and it looks very kind of Halloween witchy, you know. But I've been really trying to end my day, like, with my head on the pillow, you know, thinking about, like, what was the best thing that happened today. And often it's something very, very small, you know. It's not always these huge things. Often it's something very small. And then I also think about, like, I take that, and then I think about the next day, and I kind of go through my head of, like, some of the things I have planned, and, you know, like tomorrow going to my meeting and whatever, and, like, what do I want my day to look like tomorrow. And one of the things I've also been starting that's been really good for me, and this has been with me taking some time off making videos every day, is that, like, I think to myself, don't set your expectations too high. Like, for a long time, I'd be like, okay, what am I gonna make my videos about tomorrow? I gotta plan this, I've even talked about that on here, you know? I haven't been doing that lately, and when I wake up, if I wake up and I'm like, oh, like today I woke up and I was like, I'm making videos today, like, I feel it today, you know? And then I think the passion is alive in me to do those things that I love, but for me to set really strict rules and expectations for what the next day is going to look like, then the reality is, and I've talked a lot about my expectations on here before, then the reality is that my expectations are going to fall short most of the time. You know what I mean? Like, they just are. Like, I'm just not going to, like, things are not always going to go exactly how I want them to go, right? Like, often the way the day goes, I mean, first of all, none of us can really know how the next day is going to go of our lives. Excuse me. So, to plan out a perfect day, and then, I used to have, like, especially, like, on trips and stuff, I would plan stuff out so much, or holidays, and then, like, my expectations would be set so high that when the reality fell short of that, then I was let down. And this isn't just something recently I've been doing, but for a long time now, I'd say 5 years plus, I've really been trying to lower my expectations about things and just enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, and just staying in the moment and just being like, okay, for today, I can just enjoy the moment, you know? Like, I can just enjoy this. And a good example would be, when we were in, what do you call it? The Dominican Republic this summer, and Alex really wanted to go on that, like, sailing, the catamaran trip to that private island. Like, that wasn't something that I necessarily really wanted to do, but I wasn't resistant to it. It wasn't number one on my list. I would have been fine just laying on the beach, you know? And I was like, okay, he wants to do this. This was like the one thing he really wanted to do, just like, you know, other stuff that we've done on trips. And I was like, I'm just going to go along with this. And I ended up having such a fantastic time, you know? And when I stop resisting and I just float sometimes, like, my life it turns out the way it's supposed to. And I really, you know, enjoy the process more, and I really just enjoy my life. Like, I have a lot of friends of mine that are, I wouldn't say they're like, do you know, like in Pretty Woman, I always quote that movie, but I love it. She goes, I'm a fly by my seat of the pants kind of gal. She goes, actually, I wouldn't say that. Like, you know, like, I have friends of mine that are very spontaneous, but I would say it's more of a controlled spontaneity. You know what I mean? Like, they're open to anything, but at the same time, it's like they also know they have to go to work on Monday. Does that make sense? And they seem to live very fun lives. And, you know, or maybe kind of plan, I know this is going to sound like a crazy word. You're going to look at me like, what? But plan spontaneity. You know, where it's like, okay, on Saturday night, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, and I'm going to have fun, and I'm not going to worry about it. And then, like, when I go back to work on, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like planned spontaneity to some degree. And I'm so thirsty. Where's my wallet? Here it is. And I think it's fun, you know? I think that is probably how I need to live my life a little bit more, you know? I don't know. Sometimes the safety of my own home seems very reassuring to me. I'm texting Valerie, because if she... are you still going? Because if she's not going, I'm not going to go. Alright, I'm going to go inside and get something to drink, and I will be... Oh my god, my battery is dead. You guys, it is going out already. This vlog is going to be like 18 minutes long. What? Okay, I will be back in a little while. Bye. Okay, I'm back. I ended up... Oh! What song was that? Oh, it's Lady Gaga. I got a McCafe Frappuccino Frappe Caramel. Anyway, my battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna take my battery home and I'm gonna charge it. I mean, it's literally flashing, so I know I have like a minute left. And I'm gonna charge it, and if I don't end up getting home too late, then I will vlog more. If I get home too late, then I apologize. This is literally like the world's shortest vlog. I'm so mad that I didn't charge my battery earlier. I was just talking to my friend that works in there, and I was asking her what she was doing for Halloween, and she's like, I'm taking my oldest and her two friends and my nephew to this place called Hell's Gate. And I was like, what is Hell's Gate? And she's like, it's supposedly like this bridge where some train derailed or something, like, I don't know, like 50 plus years ago, 100 years ago or whatever, and it's supposedly haunted. It's called Hell's Gate. I've never heard of this place before, but if it truly exists, I think I'm gonna see if Melissa and Aaron want to go out there and do a video with me like we did the paranormal investigation. I think that would be kind of a fun video to go do out there. So that video might be coming soon. I'm gonna look into that. I've never heard of that, but maybe I should look up some haunted places in Indiana that we could go to. That might be kind of fun. Anyway, you guys, I am so sorry about this vlog. I feel like a total ass. if it ends up only being, because I'm like at 1 minute and 37 seconds now, so if it ends up being only like 20 minutes long, well, what that would mean would be that I was a big winner at the casino, and we would like that, right? That would be a good thing. So it may be short just for tomorrow. God, I can't believe it. I'm kind of waiting just to let it die out at this point to see when the battery dies. Because I can keep on talking until it does, I guess. And yeah. Now I don't know what to say. It's still going and I don't know what to say. Anyway, I think it'd be kind of cool to go do that, some haunted places. I actually watch a lot of channels where... Okay, I'm back and the battery is charged and it is very late. It's like after 5 o'clock in the morning. And I just came home and I'm leaving so that I can vlog a little bit. I went to the casino and met my friend Valerie. It was funny because a lot of the people that go to Anderson, where I usually go, were at Shelbyville tonight because all of the machines at Anderson were shut. Not all of the machines, but most of the machines were shut down. So I like walked in and all of a sudden I'm like seeing people that I see at the other casino when I go there. And then they had a bunch of the machines shut down there too. So there wasn't like really that much, any place that you could play. So I ended up, my friend Valerie is playing this one machine and the ones next to him were taken. So I ended up playing these like old progressive machine. I don't even know what it's called. These old progressive machines where, it's called like Power Shot or something, and it's like 5 rows across, and then like if you get 3 of the bonus things, you get like to do each one of them. They spin like little slot machines. Do you guys know, if you ever go to the casino, you probably know what I'm talking about. And it goes Power Shot or something like that. But anyway, I played there literally all night long, up and down, up and down, up and down. I put like $40 in, and it took me all the way up to like 140, and then it took me down, and then it took me up, and then it took me down. So I walked out of there about 40 less than I came with, which means in the last 2 nights I spent like 80. That's not too bad. So anyway, and yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. We were joking around. There were a lot of people there that were like being really nice, and it's kind of a different crowd over there. People are, I don't know, people are more talkative. In Anderson, people are very serious about their casino play. But at Shelbyville, people were super friendly and stuff. Anyway, it was fun. We had a good time. It was nice to see her and hang out and stuff like that. She was doing very well for a while. I don't know, I left and she stayed, so I was like, I still have to go home and vlog. And then I'm gonna vlog for just a little bit. I don't know how long, 20 minutes or so. So it'll be a shorter vlog than usual. And then I'm gonna go home, and while it's rendering, I'm gonna finish my episode. I'm on the 6th episode of, I think I'm on the 6th or 7th episode of The Haunting of Hill House. And I'm gonna eat my cheese and then go to bed. I don't have anything to do tomorrow except for my meeting. In the evenings, the multiple evenings tomorrow night. It is officially Halloween Eve. I'm so excited. And yeah, tomorrow's gonna be a good day. Wednesday's gonna be a good day. And then Thursday, I'm getting my hair cut. I had my green jacket on earlier. I wore it like the whole time I was in the casino, and finally I'm like, why am I wearing this jacket? Just take it off. And then Thursday I have a hair appointment, and I don't think I have anything else on Thursday. I can't think. And Thursday, between Thursday and Monday, it's my goal to get back to posting on every channel daily. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. So get ready, because it's coming. And I want to say, I was like, when I went home to go get my battery for my camera, I was sitting in the driveway for a second. I was just kind of rolling through some of the comments in the vlog, and there were like 3 comments in a row, like rather long comments from people saying like they look forward to these vlogs every day, and you know, somebody even thanking me for it meant so much to me. And I was sitting there and I was like, I really, to be honest with you, I can't imagine my life now without doing the vlog. And like if it gets late in the night, Alex will even say like, don't you have to go vlog? And because he knows how much it means to me, and he's so supportive of me doing it. And it just, I really appreciate that you guys enjoy watching it or listening to it. So many of you say you drive and you listen to it like a podcast, which I love that too. So it just, I don't know, it was really nice to hear those comments. So thank you, I appreciate it. It's kind of turned into something I didn't think it would. Like, you know, I don't know, like September, I did a couple longer vlogs. I mean, honestly, over time, they've gotten kind of longer and longer, you know, where they're, I would say, about an hour every day now. And, you know, prior to that, they were a half an hour to 45 minutes, usually 35 to 45 minutes. I enjoy doing the longer vlogs. It's fun for me, you know. Typically, it doesn't even seem like that much time has gone by when I do them. I like doing them throughout the day too. What I need to do is I need to get another battery for my camera so that I have 2 batteries fully charged at any given time. Because like, if I film all of like all the videos for my other channels, then I don't have enough battery left. I have to charge it to vlog. So if I'm vlogging throughout the day and I'm filming videos, at some point the battery is going to die. You would think that a camera battery would last forever, but I mean, I guess like, you know, an hour of vlogging is a long time. So it kind of makes sense to me that it wouldn't, especially you're not doing I'm not doing photos, I'm doing videos. So I don't know. It is Halloween Eve, and it is 39 degrees outside. I mean, Tuesday's Halloween Eve, so when you're watching this, it's Halloween Eve. I can't remember who sent me this picture. It's somebody that like I've talked to a lot in direct messages, and oh shoot, I wish I could remember who it was. But they decorate a Halloween tree, you guys, like a Christmas tree, but with Halloween ornaments, and it's so fantastic. And I just loved it. I was like, when I saw the picture, so many of you guys send me pictures of you know, food to try, or you know, your dogs. I love getting the pictures of the dogs. Send me pictures of your dogs. It just makes me so happy when you guys are like, this is my, you know, this is my Chewini Georgie or something. You know what I mean? I just love that. I think it's so sweet. And the interaction is what I really enjoy. And so that personalizes it for me. I wish I could give you guys longer responses. It's hard sometimes because, you know, some days I won't get any direct messages or anything like that whatsoever. And then other days I get like 30 in a row. And like, especially since I have not been on Twitter as much lately, like I don't get hardly any notifications. Like I might, like once or twice a day, somebody might tweet me something, but because I haven't been getting on it as much, people they haven't really been tweeting me. It's interesting, like when I do tweet something out, like, what was it? I tweeted out something. Yesterday I tweeted out that I was doing the review of Making a Murderer. I think, was that yesterday or was that today? I can't remember. And followed by The Haunting of Hill House. I think it was yesterday. And then my Twitter got real active again. And so whenever I tweet stuff out, I think people like see that I'm being active on there, and so they tweet me back. But otherwise, you know, if I'm not tweeting anything out, I don't get a whole lot, you know. I would say between like maybe 10 and 20 a day, I think. I don't know, where people are just like, and they say really nice things. It's like, Sunny, she always like tweets me something, like a picture of a food to try, and A couple other people tweeted me, I think it was like 2 people tweeted me today saying they were in Indianapolis and that it was fun to see me talk about places that they knew, which I always think is interesting. Like, I don't think about that, you know, that I'm just driving around talking about places. And like the majority of the time, most of you guys probably have no idea where, when I say like, oh, I'm in Broad Ripple right now, because I'm in Broad Ripple right now, you guys have like no idea what I'm talking about. But like for everybody else, you know, they're probably like, oh my God, I know exactly where you're at, you know? I mean, for everybody else that lives in Indianapolis, that would be. Anyway, I can't believe it's almost Halloween. I feel like Halloween has been coming for so long this year. Like, I feel like it's been this ongoing thing that's been, you know, like I've been excited about for so long. I am not, though, I will say this. I am not done with, but I will have it done in time for the live book club. The live book club for you by Carolyn Kepnes is this upcoming Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will have that done in time, but I will not be finishing Goblet of Fire in time for October to be over. So I'm gonna finish it probably the first week of November, and then I think the first book I'm gonna start to read is, okay, wait, will be the 5th book in the series, which I don't know what that is. You guys probably know what it is. In the Harry Potter series, because in November we're reading the 5th book. They're really, really long. And the thing is that I usually listen to audiobooks at 2 times speed, but with the Harry Potter books, because of Jim Dale's accent, sometimes I have a hard time understanding if it's really fast. So I had to slow it down to 1.5 or 1.75, so it's taking me longer. I think, why can't I think of the book I'm reading right now? I'm losing my mind. It's 21 hours, so it's taking to listen to. So it's taking me a long time versus like 10 and 12 hours for the other 3. But I will finish it the first week of November and then move right into the next one. Because the next book club book that we're reading is Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. And that book is not that long. So, and I'm not going to listen to that on audio. I'm going to read it. I feel like I read Franny, I think, like when I was in college. Because it was one of my mom's favorite books. But I never read Zoe. So, I'm excited about rereading it. A couple years ago, I read Catcher in the Rye again, and I hadn't read it. I used to read it all the time. I used to read it like every couple years. It really depressed me. It really, really made me sad. And you know, the thing is that I think reading different books at different times, like I think you have a different perspective on it depending on where you're at that point in your life, what you're going through or whatever. It's very much probably like seeing a movie too, you know? And, it's like if you've watched my videos for a long time, you know that my favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird, and my favorite movie is To Kill a Mockingbird. And actually, I like the movie To Kill a Mockingbird better than the book. And but they're very similar but very different. There's a lot in the book that is not included in the movie, and there's whole characters, relatives that aren't even in the book or in the movie. Which is important if you're going to read Go Set a Watchman, because many of the characters that are written in the book are in Go Set a Watchman, but they're not in the movie. I think the music score is fantastic. To Kill a Mockingbird, the movie. I usually always watch it every Halloween season. I can't believe I haven't watched it. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I can hear the song in my head, but anyway. I have the CD somewhere. I don't think I have it in the car, though. But if you've never heard the soundtrack to Kill a Mockingbird, you should listen to it. It's like, it's just so good. I used to love soundtracks to movies. I'll tell you a couple of my favorite are To Kill a Mockingbird is one of my favorites. And I'm talking about like the musical score. The soundtrack to Body Double, they redid it probably 10 years ago or so. And I can't remember who did it. Some composer. And an orchestra played it, and it is fantastic. Like, that's a CD that you could just download the whole CD and listen to. It's so great. And also Rush, Eric Clapton did the whole album. There's only like, I think 2 sung songs that he actually sings on the whole soundtrack. Edward Scissorhands used to be one of my favorite soundtracks. A funny story, I actually used to own the soundtrack to Harry Potter way back in the day. I had heard the song somewhere, and like the opening credit ones, and I liked it, and so I ended up getting the soundtrack. I have no idea where that's at today, though, on CD. I like to have like instrumental music playing in the background when I'm doing stuff, and I think soundtracks are. Oh, Basic Instinct is a great soundtrack too. I think movie soundtracks often are really good soundtracks, or really good CDs to have in the background, because I think they evoke emotion, and a lot of times when I'm writing, I like to have movie soundtracks in the background. I have like a bunch of Alfred Hitchcock theme songs downloaded. I like Rear Window and Psycho and North by Northwest. What else? The Man Who Knew Too Much. Do you guys like Alfred Hitchcock movies? I mean, I grew up on all those movies. You know, when I was like a kid, I'm so thankful to my mom for that. My dad, he liked older movies, but he liked like the Thomas Crown he liked movies that were more like 60s, early 70s movies, like Thomas Crown Affair and Equus, and I think that's what it was called. Like these kind of spy-ish movies, my dad loved those. I'm trying to think of some other movies that my dad liked that we would watch. Well, one of my dad's all-time favorite movies is Arthur with Dudley Moore. My dad loves that movie so much. I love that movie too. My dad and I would always be with my dad on New Year's Eve when I was growing up as a kid. Like, he would always let my mom have that holiday because he just didn't care. And he was usually on call when I was growing up. So, we used to, back in the day, I don't know if anybody else will remember this, but like on the movie channel, you could like, I think I've talked about this on here before, you could like call in and vote for like a movie that was going to come on at like 10 o'clock, and then it would be like from 10 to 2 or 10 to 12, and then like you could watch the ball drop, but everybody could vote on whatever movie. And my dad, and he still tells this story, and I'd be like, vote for Arthur, Dad, vote for Arthur, and we would like call in and we would vote for Arthur. And I think like the other movies were always like Cannonball Run, or my dad loved those movies too, like Smokey and the Bandit, Cannonball Run. He loved all those movies, those Burt Reynolds movies and Sally Field movies. He loved those. An Airplane is one of my dad's. He loves any, like, my dad can get himself laughing so hard over those slapstick stupid movies. He loves those movies. But anyway, then he would grill out steaks, like New York strips, and, you know, we would have like wild rice and spinach souffle, and that would be our New Year's, and we bang pans and, you know, set off fireworks and stuff like that. I must have been with my mom like a couple New Year's, because I remember banging pans with her. Do you guys remember that? We used to always do that on New Year's, bang pans. It's so funny because Alex's mom has like all these traditions that she does on New Year's, and I thought they were like Venezuelan traditions, and then Alex one year was like, no, my mom just made them up. Like, one of them is you have to like, well, you like write down all of your desires for the next year, and then you put them in the suitcase, and then you, when midnight happens, you run around a house 12 times, or the neighborhood or something like that, and it's supposed to like invoke travel, I guess, for the next year and make all these desires come true. But like, Alex is really serious about this list of desires. Like, he saves his from every year and then rereads them on New Year's, and then he makes like a new one. He's very serious about it. Which I guess in a way is like not so much New Year's resolutions. Why are we talking about this on Halloween Eve? I don't know. But it's not so much like New Year's resolutions as it is like New Year's goals, or, you know, whatever. Which I think is actually not a bad idea. Like, I think this whole idea of New Year's resolutions, like, I stopped doing it years ago. And, you know, I would make goals or, you know, not desires necessarily, but things I wanted to achieve in the following year. And because I feel like resolutions are like things about ourselves that we're not happy about and we want to make better or something, which that's great. I think that's fine, and you can turn that into a goal. But at the same time, it's like when we fall short of it on January 3rd, it's like how many people are just like, I'm done. You know what I mean? I remember one New Year's, God, would I have been sober? Would it have been? I think I was sober. But anyway, my friend and I, the one that she and I got sober together, we decided we were going to quit smoking on New Year's Day. And I mean to tell you, I can't even tell you how many cigarettes we smoked that night. I mean, I was like, I was in a cold turkey at, okay, well, I would have been about 23 or 24 at the time. I woke up, I was so sick the next day. And of course, the first thing I wanted was a cigarette. You know, how long do you think that lasted? Not long. So I think like today I'm more realistic about my goals. The other thing I like to do at the end of the year is I like to look at the goals that I've had from the previous year, you know, and see, you know, what I've done and how well I've done, you know, and also kind of like by a measurable goal, evaluate it, you know, and I think it's important. I think we're so good, most of us, at taking stock of the negative that we rarely take stock of the positive, you know, the positive changes that we've made, and really, you know, affirm the positive. I got this comment on my Peterisms video. One of my Peterisms video was so interesting, and it was like, they commented on it today, but it was from, I think, like last week sometime. I don't remember when I did it. But it was the one about, are you lovable, I think. And it was when I was talking about, I actually had a counselor that had me do this, but it was also like a technique that a coworker of mine used to have patients do. And I thought it was so fantastic that I started doing it myself. And what it was is that when you are doing like affirmations, you look in the mirror, you write them down on post-it notes. Yes, post-it notes, or, you know, postcards first. Note cards, that's what I was looking for. You post it. You write it down on post-it notes or note cards first, and then you read them. And there are things that you know to be true about yourself. Like, I am a good son. I'm a good husband. You know, whatever. I can't think of any more than that. I'm a good friend, you know. I'm funny. Things like that. And then what you do is you look in the mirror. Well, this was so interesting that somebody said this on there. She said, when I looked in the mirror and I did it, because I thought it was corny until I looked in the mirror and I had this wow moment, because it's much harder than you think it is. And she said, you know, some of the things I had to say, like, for example, I am a good son now. And when I read that, I was like, chills. I mean, it was like goosebumps, because when I started doing that back in the day, I literally could not, there was not one thing I could look in the mirror and say, like, I'm a good this, you know? I mean, today, there's lots of things I can say, you know? I'm a good sponsee, you know, I'm a good son, I'm a good cousin, I'm a good friend, you know, all these kinds of things. I think I'm a pretty good writer, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm funny, I'm okay looking, no. But you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of things I can say about myself that are positive. And, oh, it's gonna stop. It actually did stop. I can't believe I've been talking that long. But when I first started doing it, I couldn't like look in the mirror. Like I would just look in the mirror, and you would think it's like an easy exercise, but it really isn't. And because you really have to believe it first, and when you're looking in the mirror, you really can't fool anybody. I mean, you can't fool yourself, right? And I can remember, like, one of the things I say every day now is that I'm a good person. And I remember, like, when I first got sober, how hard that was for me, you know? Before I had worked through steps, before I had cleared the wreckage of my past, before I had done all that kind of stuff, you know? And I have ways in which I do that today. So when things are brought to me that I have to take a look at, you know, I can say today, I am a good person. Because I know I'm a good person that makes errors. I know I'm a good person that is successful in some things. I know I am a good person because I attempt to be a good person on a daily basis. I can say that with confidence today. But there was a time that I could not say that. And when she said in the comment, you know, like, I am a good daughter now, I was like goosebumps, because if somebody had given me that tool, I thought it was such a valuable tool. And I may actually do a whole Peterisms video on it. If somebody had given me that tool then, like, I had never heard anybody, I mean, it sounds so simple, but I had never heard anybody say that before, you know? Like, it would have taken, and she said in there that adding that last word, it makes it hard, but it also makes it easier, or something like that. I should read the comment. Because what you realize is, I am going to actually pull in here and see if I can find the comment, because I'm almost to where I turn anyway. But what you realize with that is that there was a time that you didn't feel that about yourself, you know? That you didn't feel that to be true about yourself. And really what you're doing is you're affirming the positive about yourself between you and your higher power, or you and whatever you believe, or you and just you, you know? And I think that's hard sometimes. I think it's really hard. But I think it's important to really believe those things about ourselves. And if you don't, then that's where the work has to begin, you know? Okay, let me pull right in here in front of this nail place. What's it called? L Nails. Okay. I need my readers, actually. I want to make sure. I just thought this comment was so well done, so well stated. See, I do read your comments, and I think about them. Where is it? Too deep, wow. I mean, at first it sounds cheesy or like you've heard it all before, but what was different about this is what you said. Quote, I am a good son. Quote, I am a good husband. Being able to say that and mean it is a lot. I just said, I am a good ... I won't say what I said, but it felt powerful. It felt too deep because I had to add now to the end of the sentence, which kills and heals at the same time. That is such a powerful statement. Like, see, I got goosebumps again. It's like such a powerful statement, because why would they not have an exit through this way? It's such a powerful statement because, you know, it heals and it kills at the same time. And I think that for us to grow as human beings, I really believe this, you know, and this is something I have said about recovery for a long time, you know, like working on ourselves in recovery, is that it's very much like, you know, like building muscle, right? You have to break it down and build it back up. And I think that's where I, you know, always talk about these teachable moments, remaining teachable, that if we aren't offered moments in life to improve as human beings, then we're basically, we've already arrived. There is no further that we can get. We're unteachable at that point. And I don't ever want to be at a point where I'm unteachable, you know? And I want to continue to learn. I want to continue to grow. And I loved that, because what I know to be true is that if she continues to do that, there will become a point when she can look in a mirror and say, I am a good whatever. I can look in a mirror and I can say, I am a good person today, because I know that to be true in my heart. And really, that's all that matters. I mean, that is all that matters, no matter what anybody else says, no matter what anybody else tells you, no matter what kind of tape runs in your head from years and years and years of shit that has been told to you. You know, I mean, if I was still stuck with all of the crap that people told me when I was growing up for the 12 years that I was bullied going to school, if I still believed all that kind of stuff, I don't even really know how I would function, honestly. You know, and I have met people that are bitter and angry and finger pointing and all this kind of, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't choose to live my life like that today. I just don't. And it makes me sad for other people, because the reality is, at some point, you know, you got to look at that as a teaching moment. You know, I don't want to believe what all of those people said all of those years about me that I know not to be true today. You know? It's like I hear those words, like as I'm talking about this, I can hear the things that people said to me that were the most hurtful growing up. And you know, it's not the things you would think. It's not necessarily the derogatory words. It's the things like, don't sit next to him, or, you know, like, don't be friends with him because, you know, all based on me being an effeminate kid who, therefore, they called me gay, right? And if I carried that over into adulthood, what I would believe is, I'm not good enough to have friends. I'm not good enough to have people that care about me. I'm not good enough to have people that want to even sit by me, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And that's crap. I know that's not true today, you know. But did it take a while for me to unwind that? Sure. You know, you take a 12-year-old kid that starts drinking with a lot of pain in his head and in his heart. When you take that substance away 10 years later at 22, you got a lot of pain left. A lot of pain. A lot of unanswered questions about my own existence, you know? And it's kind of relearning that all over again. And I still learn, you know, all the time. It's like, you know, I remember when Reese Witherspoon won the Oscar for, what was the movie, where she played Jean Carter Cash, and, she said this quote, I'll have to look it up and I'll tell you guys again about it, or you can probably Google, like, you know, Reese Witherspoon acceptance speech. But she said in there something to the effect that Jean Carter Cash said, like, she accepted it and she said, you know, I'm going to reiterate something that she used to say on a regular basis, which is, I'm just trying to get by, or something like that. But it was a quote that was similar to that, to just trying to get by, you know? And I think, like, aren't we all just trying to get by? Life's not easy, you know? And especially when, I cannot believe I've almost used this entire tube, you guys. Look, it's gone. That's it. It's all the way up. I love this. I'm gonna have to go back and get some more, because that was so nice of Kara to send that to me. I'm gonna buy this as Christmas gifts for people this year. That negative talk and that tape that we run in our head is so damaging, you know? head thinking about different stuff. You know, I'm thinking about, like, I think back in the day, like, I don't know if anybody will relate to this, but I think back in the day, like, when I believed that I was shit, it was kind of almost easier to believe that I was shit, because then nobody expected anything of me. I didn't expect anything of myself. You know, I didn't set goals for myself, because why? I wasn't going to achieve them, you know? I've told this story on here before. It's like, I joke in my videos and I say, I ain't got my glasses on, I can't do math. Because I grew up always telling myself, I'm no good at math. I'm no good at math. My parents would joke and they'd say, oh, you got your mom's brain because your dad is so good at math and science, which he is. You know, my mom, she didn't know what she was doing on math. And she just didn't, you know? And it was always this joke. Well, I've told this story before, but I'm gonna tell the quick version of it. When I went back to school after I got out of treatment, I had dropped out and I think failed out maybe twice, I don't know, of finite math. And I had to pass it to graduate. And my dad went with me to class, and he talked to the professor and was like, he needs to go every day and blah, 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 whatever. And so I was so not excited about finite math. I mean, I was so scared of that class, you know? And so I had this professor that was just so cool, and he was gay, and he was younger. He was probably 30 or something like that. And every day that I would come to class, it was in this huge lecture hall, and he would be like, Mr. Monn, how are you doing today? Like, you know, just to check to make sure I was there, you know, which just would really piss me off. But, like, looking back on that, I think that's so nice, you know, that, I don't know, it just was really nice. And at the time, though, it didn't feel that way. I mean, and I went to every extra credit and whatever, but like after day 2, like the stuff that he would like be doing on the, what do you call it, the PowerPoint, we didn't have PowerPoint back then, but you know the thing that like you'd write on the thing and then it would, you know, I don't know what that's called, but anyway. Do you guys remember microfiche? If you're as old as me, you remember microfiche. Those were the days of having to do a research paper. My God, people want to complain about Google and the internet being too slow. Go to a library and research a paper with the Encyclopedia Britannica and microfiche. Anyway, I know that's not F-I-S-H. It's not a kind of fish, okay? It's literally newspapers. And then you're looking for something and the library tells you they haven't loaded it up into the microfiche yet, or they took it out because it's 10 years old. Do you remember those days? God, what a mess. But anyway, so I went to all these classes and, you know, the extra credit and whatever, and I don't even remember what I got on the first test, like an A-, I think. And, but it was much better than I thought I was going to get on the test, because I didn't really know. I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing, and I would just sit there in class. I wouldn't take notes. I wouldn't do anything, and he was always very skeptical of that. And so after the first test, like, we got him back, I, like, went down to go talk to him. I was like, psh, he's just giving me an easy grade, right? Why I wouldn't just accept it if that had been the case, I don't know. But I went down there, and I was, like, standing behind other people, and he was like, can I help you, Peter? And I was like, yeah, I just want to talk to you about my test. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, what did you want to ask? And I was like, oh, no, I'll wait till these other people are gone. And he was like, no, you can ask me now. And I was like, okay. And I go, I think you and I both know, this is me at 22, are you ready? I think you and I both know that I didn't get an A- on this test. And he's like, what? And I'm like, come on, you know I didn't get an A- on this test. And he's like, what are you insinuating? I'm so embarrassed looking back on this now, you know? He goes, there's the test. You can check your test, and you can see that you got the grade that you deserved. He was not happy. But anyway, what I learned was that I wasn't horrible at math, and that I also learned how I study, okay? Which is that if I sit there and listen and pay attention, like, I can learn words to songs like that. If I sit there and listen, or if I participate in a discussion, which is what I did in graduate school. Yes, I went to graduate school. I know a lot of people have a hard time believing that. I've even showed my degree on this channel. But when I was in graduate school, I literally just listened in class, you know, and, you know, a lot of professors, they didn't really care, but they would be like, kind of like, are you keeping track? And I'm like, yeah, you know, and then I would participate in the discussion. Participating in the discussion really, really helped me. I wouldn't sit in the back of the room, you know, I would sit closer to the front, I would participate in the conversation that was going on, and I would remember it later, you know, and so I learned through all of that, you know, that I'm not bad at math, but because of that class, I didn't take a whole lot more classes, but what had happened was that this idea that I'm so bad at math had stuck in my head all this time, right? Like I had believed that. Like I put it in there and then I believed it, even though it wasn't even true. Man, I had tutors in high school. It was hard, and I think part of it was I had convinced myself I just didn't understand it. I was so bad at it, you know? And I've done that with other things in my life too, like, I remember my ex and I, okay, so my ex can literally, like, there was no IKEA back in the day, but let's just say if there was, he could have put anything IKEA together in about 10 minutes flat. He's just very, like, technical, right? And actually kind of enjoyed doing some of that stuff. Well, I don't. I don't enjoy it. I don't get it. I don't like following instructions. I don't like following, you know, it's just, and every time I, like, talk about this, people always tell me, they're like, that's a man thing. I don't know if it's a man thing or if it's a what thing. I just don't like doing it because I always screw it up anyway, right? So when he moved out, he took like these racks that we had in our bedroom for clothes, like that we would put like folded clothes in and stuff. And so I called him one night and I was like, and this is like months after we had broken up. I mean, we were like civil enough that we were talking and it wasn't bad and stuff. And but he got shitty with me on the phone about something. I can't even remember what it was now, but it wasn't anything that I deserved for him to be shitty with. I do remember that because I got off the phone and I was like, I'll show him. And he was like, he said to me on the phone, because I was asking him about how to put these racks together, right? And he goes something about like, well, if you think you're so smart, why don't you put them together on your own or figure it out on your own or something? And I was like, okay, I will. And guess what? I did. And they were very simple. They were like from Target, you know, they were like basically just 4 pieces and you put them together. I mean, it's real easy, right? But I can remember sitting there on the floor and I was so proud of myself that I put these things together. And so I think, you know, those ideas that we have about ourselves, that to some degree, are they really true? Or is it that we've convinced ourselves they're true over time, right? And it's all about unwinding that, you know, and whatever. And I don't think that's just about technological things, or I'm bad at math, or I'm not this, or I'm not that, or whatever, right? I think, you know, it's about growing as a person, too. That we will never be able to grow as a person, you know? It's like, I've done a lot of soul searching in the last, you know, 6 weeks. A lot. And I was thinking about, you know, the other day, I was like, I don't know where this is going to go, but I was thinking about the movie Dead Man Walking with Sean Penn and Susan Sarandon. And if you've never seen it, it's a true story. It's about a man that he killed this couple. And I haven't seen it in a long time. And I think he and another guy killed a couple. And Sister Helen Prigene, who is a real nun, and Susan Sarandon plays her, is appointed to be his chaplain. And through like the whole movie, there's like you as the viewer, but also he believes that he's on death row and believes, I think, that like if she believes him and he finds redemption, then he's going to get off. Like they're going to pardon like his, you know, execution. And like even up to like the very last minute, you've really no idea what direction it's going to go. And it's a really kind of like crazy volatile scene. And she's like standing through the bars, and he gets it, like in that moment, like he totally gets it, right? And she's looking at him, and they're just like face to face, and he gets it in that moment. And what like redemption is really all about, you know? And when my sponsor said to me on the phone and talking about all of this stuff, she said, you know, it's really between you and your higher power. It's not your job to convince anybody else. You know? I said, well, how would you handle the situation? Like, you know, if you were going to say something about it, what would you say? She goes, I wouldn't. She said, I don't really give a shit what people believe. I know the truth. And I think that to some degree, you know, like that's where then is all of this unfolding in my life for me to learn the opportunity, to have the moments of growth, to have the opportunities for growth, you know? And then the rest of it, I guess maybe doesn't even matter. And that's powerful, you know? Because if this is an opportunity for growth, then what I have to realize is that that's a moment that I haven't, like that's something I haven't grown in before, that I need to take a look at that, you know? And, I don't know. I have, you know, like, there's so many things I don't look at the same way, you know? You know, I used to make a joke on my, what time am I at? I got about a minute left before it stops. Okay. You know, I used to make a joke on my, the drama channel that, you know, I've changed. You know, and then there's this whole idea that people have said that people don't change overnight. I don't believe that to be true. I'm not saying that I have, because I don't believe that I have. In some things I have, I think, always. Not just in the last 2 months, not just in the last 2 years, not just in the last 20 years. I think there are some things that happen to me that I do change overnight. You know, I have sat in a meeting, in a 12-step meeting, and heard somebody's story and left that room after 1 hour a changed person. Period. End of story. And, you know, I sat in a hospital room holding my mother's hand as she passed away. I walked out of that hospital room a changed person forever. Forever. There's so many moments in my life that it's going to stop, so let me just stop it and then I'll come right back. Okay. There are so many moments in my life that were pivotal, profound moments that I changed. I changed my outlook, I changed my perspective, I changed how I behaved, I changed everything about me changed as a result of that moment, you know? And I think if any of you out there asked yourself, like, look at 3 to 5 things in your life, you know, that really changed, and they don't have to be big things either, you know? And just to clear this up so that people don't say, because I know there are some people out there that'll be like, well, you're saying that now. No, I said this back in the day too, when I didn't have the criticism that I'm getting. I shared a whole story on here about that I believe that there are like 5 moments in your life that change you profoundly for who you are. I actually think I did an entire video on my Peterisms channel about it, but I believe that. I believe that there are like several moments in our lives that pivotally change, is that a word, pivotally? That profoundly change who we are as human beings. I really do believe that. I think there are other things that are ongoing changes where we change as people or we are resistant to change. I'm also a believer that like I've said in my other videos on Peterson's channel, you know, that lessons will be repeated until they are learned. If you don't learn something, that lesson's going to be repeated. I've had a lot of lessons in my life that I'm like, oh, no, I'm not today. I'm not learning this lesson. Well, it came back to haunt me, and it came back to haunt me again, and it came back to haunt me again. So, you know, at some point I had to look at that and go, okay, I think maybe I need to learn this lesson. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe this is a lesson I need to learn that I've been kind of resistant to. And one of the things that's great about having a sponsor, being in a 12-step program, is that that's somebody that will point those things out to you. Like, have you looked at the fact that you have ignored all this, you know? Or, you know, that there are patterns that you're not willing to take a look at. And it's powerful, you know? I don't want to be the person that I was yesterday. You know, in a week from now, I don't want to be the person that I am tomorrow. I want to constantly improve on who I am, even if I have to do some tough work, you know? Some of the toughest shit that I've gone through in my life has been the stuff that's made me, given me the character, you know? And I think the other thing is, too, that when you've gone through tough things, no matter what they are, everybody's, you know, story is different. It's like you have that to share with somebody else to help them go through that when you meet somebody down the road, you know? It's like, you know, like people will say to me, like, well, I don't know why I'm going through this. Well, of course we don't know why we're going through it at the moment. And maybe it's just some crap that's happening to us that down the road, you know, we'll be able to put maybe some meaning to it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think that everything bad that happens in the world, there's a meaning to it. And I don't think that everything good that happens in the world, there's a meaning to it, you know? I think some people just... I'm not much of a believer in luck. I'm not. I think... But I do believe that we attract what we put out there. So I think that if you put positivity out there, you're going to get positivity back. I think that if, and not just like, I don't believe in like energy waves going through. There's something like seriously going on here. My God, there's ambulances and police cars all over the place. But I believe that, I don't mean like on energy levels, like I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I don't. I mean like, if you're a really positive person, like this has taken me a long time to learn in my life, but if you're a positive person that tries to be happy and joyous, you know, most of the time and supportive of people, when you become friends with somebody that's really negative, like it's hard, right? And so you almost don't want to be around it because it's like I don't know, you know? Like there's a friend of mine that I have. I think she watches my vlog, so I'm gonna say this because she deserves to hear this. I have a friend of mine that for a very long time was very pessimistic about how she looked at the world. And I've been talking to her a lot more recently because, you know, I've been really trying to reconnect with friends of mine and people in my life and sobriety and things like that. And it is just such a joy to be around her. Like, it's almost like she's a completely different person, except she's the same. But, like, no complaining, no nothing. I mean, it's just like, she's just so nice to be around and to talk to. And I really realized how much I really missed her. Like, you know, like that her. And then what I realized was that if I allow myself to be a Debbie Downer or to be negative all the time, or if I allow shit to get to me and that's what I'm putting out there, then people are gonna miss things about me, you know? People are gonna miss the fun times and the funny haha and the this and the that. And isn't that what I want people to perceive of me? Isn't that what I want people to enjoy about me, is my kind parts, my compassionate parts, my funny parts, my laughing parts, my happy parts? I mean, those are what I want people to experience. I don't want people to experience the negativity and all that kind of stuff. And I think if we think that way, you know, that, hey, wouldn't it be great if, I mean, do you ever have that person that you're around, it's like every time you're with them, they make you feel so good about yourself? Like, not just about you, but like just in general, they're just like happy people, right? Nobody, and first of all, nobody is happy all the time. They're just not, right? But I feel like those people, and I'm not one of those people, but I feel like they look at the world more realistically. This is crazy to say, but Letty, who watches my videos, I feel like she's one of these people that, like, life is always between like a 7 and a 10. You know what I mean? And like the 7 days are when she's a little lower, but she realistically looks at stuff in life like, hey, stuff's gonna happen in the world. Now how am I gonna respond to that? It doesn't mean that you don't feel sad. It doesn't mean that things don't anger you. It means that you really think through it, you know? And I, just in having talked to her a little bit, I think she's just like such a soul person. But do you guys know who I'm, like, obviously some of you know who I'm talking about, but do you have people like that in your life that when you're with them, it's just like, there's a saying in recovery, it's the sunlight of the spirit. It's like when you're around those people, it's like you truly feel like you're in the sunlight of the spirit. Like you really feel just this, just amazing positivity. It's like, you feel just so happy, you know? And that recently is how I felt about my friend, that I missed her. I missed that part of her, you know? That's just so fun and hilarious and kind and, you know, and she's been through some real shit in the last couple years, and she's kind of on the other side of it now, and we're all gonna have that, you know? And where we go through some just hard stuff. I don't know, it makes me more consciously really realize that I really want to put out things into the world with my friends, with my family, on YouTube, whatever, that people are going to respond to positively and laugh and, you know, and, oh my God, Peter was telling me this story tonight when I was talking to him on the phone, or, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be there for people, and, I don't want my words to hurt other people, you know? I want my words to uplift people. And these are things that I've really looked at in the last month. And so, I don't know, it's all been good, you know? Like, sure, there's loss that's come with it, and that makes me sad, but maybe that had to happen, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But I know I'm going to be okay, and I know that you're going to be okay, and I say that on here because I feel like every time I say it, somebody needs to hear it. Whatever you're going through in your life right now, no matter what, like those things I thought were going to kill me didn't. I'm still here. You're still here. You're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay, you know? Until we're not. And what I mean by that is until we no longer exist. And on that, at the end of that all, I want to look back on my life and be like, man, I lived a life. I had some great people in my life, you know? And I treated them the way that I wanted to be treated. And when I didn't, I needed to take a look at that. Because we're all just trying to get by, I think. You know what I mean? Don't you agree? Are you talking back to me right now? Well, you should be. I have almost gone an entire probably 10-mile radius. So I am home, almost home. I'm gonna get off here, and this vlog ended up being like, I think like an hour or something, didn't it? I can't believe that. It's late now though. I need to go home and I need to go to bed because I'm gonna get at best about 6 hours of sleep right now. So anyway, I love you guys. Happy Halloween Eve. That vlog, I have no idea where that vlog came from. I did not expect all that, but I feel good. Like that was, I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that. I needed to say that, and I feel good, you know, like sometimes I need to say things to myself to remind myself, you know, we're all gonna be okay. Anyway. anyway, I love you guys. I'm gonna try to do some Halloween stories tomorrow since you guys will be watching tomorrow's on Wednesday. I hope you are having this person right here is running with one of those lights on their head. Okay, it is 6 o'clock in the morning. That is the motivation that I need, okay? That's gonna be my 2019 goal. Anyway, I love you guys, and I hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.